Got ourselves a little rare treat today. Series S. They're so tiny. Look at that. Pretty cool. I'll show you what's going on. Get you under the microscope. Let's see if I can get this on view. And we have a slightly busted up HDMI, enough to be a problem. So what we're going to do is we're not even going to test. We're going to disassemble. We're going to replace the HDMI, and then we'll put it back together and test after that. So I do want to make note of a couple little things. This thing is relatively easy to deal with, disassemble. It does have 3 daughter boards. And it does have one little trip up point with the top plate where the fan is. The fan is plugged into the board right in there, and if you go to yank this top plate off, unlike like the Xbox One X and One S, you don't want to just yank this plate off because the fan is not attached to the heatsink. It's attached to the top plate, and it is plugged into the board. So you want to be careful and unplug that. It's a little bit difficult to get to an angle where you can unplug it, but it comes out pretty easily once you get there. I just wanted to make note of that. Otherwise, it's pretty easy to disassemble. There's no hard drive, there's no disk drive. The only thing you have to do to get out is the power supply, really, and pull the board. I think there's a metal clip right here that we'll have to take off. And that'll be pretty much it, I think. Maybe this retainer clip here, I'm not sure. It might be part of the power supply, I can't remember. Anyway, I don't really usually do disassemblies on screen because lots of other people do disassemblies, but I wanted to make a few notes of some trip-up points you might run into when disassembling. Alright, we'll be back when we're ready to work on the board. Okay, we have the board pulled enough. Pretty interesting. There's our hard drive for the Series S. I think I can get away with pulling this port without pulling the heatsink. I don't think this thing's old enough to need to be serviced on the compound, so I don't really want to mess with the compound. I'd like to be able to just pull this port off because I think there's enough room in here to work on it without having to pull the heatsink. So, I'm going to throw up my temperatures while I get my equipment set up. These are the temperatures I expect to use. All temperatures are subject to change. Switch you back to microscope. I want to flood the anchor points and the pins that we can see with low melts. I do believe these have hidden joints much along the same lines as the Series X, but I don't think they have the plastic. And the one nice thing about this design is if they dork up the port, it is unlikely to get jarred enough where it's going to pull pads or anything like that. I can't imagine the force it would take to destroy one of these types of ports to the point where it's doing board damage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move the air around, and we're going to bring up the temperature of the board enough to wet the solder. We're not going to just be pounding it directly with direct heat. So this method takes some patience and some time, but it's effective. Been warming up the area. We're going to concentrate in on the anchor points a bit. Get them flowing. Alright. That one comes off a little less violently than the Series X. Go. Alright. Very good. I think we'll go ahead and tin those pads before we clean. Got enough not used up flux at there at the moment. I'm sorry, you guys are really not in focus there. Just looked up and noticed that. My apologies. Get these ground beds, anchor beds. Same deal, we're going to flow in from above to start. We will have to solder in the anchors afterwards. Right now I'm worried about the pins and the hidden joints. Okay, let's do our is it solid test. We're just lightly tapping it, and you should get no movement. That means the hidden joints have taken hold. Very good. Let's get in here and take a look at our pins. Make sure we are all solidly down. All right, everything looks good. Fabulous. All right. Let's take a look and see how we did on the feed through. Excelente. Get in on those pins so you can see the fillets. That's really what you want, is the fillets underneath. You do have to be a little bit careful with what you're using to clean around here, because these guys are pretty delicate. You don't want to be knocking them off the board. You will have issues. Put the board back in the housing and prepare for at least enough for a test, and that's not very difficult. Just basically you got to put the board back in the housing and the power supply back in, put the daughter boards back on, and go from there. Okay, so one thing I did discover is the fan pretty easily comes off the top plate. Otherwise it was going to be a real monster to plug that thing back in. It comes off pretty easily, no problem. You do need to remove the power supply to make it easy to plug it in, but no big deal. You need the daughter boards. I don't know which ones you need. This is actually the power button daughter board on the Series S. I thought that was a little bit interesting. It is not the big board like it is on the last series. But anyway, as you can see on the top left, we are up and running. That's really it for this repair. In summary, we had a Xbox Series S, bad HDMI port. We disassembled it. We removed the HDMI port, We replaced it, put it back together. We just got done testing it. Everything looks like it's going to check out fine. So that's a pretty straightforward repair. That's mostly what you're going to see doing this type of work. Most of the work is just, monkey see, monkey do, or see broke thing, fix broke thing. The interesting deep dives into troubleshooting are kind of the small percentage of this. So we love it for the video content, but this is the reality of it, and I'm going to keep posting these videos too because, again, this is the reality of it. Anyway, if you have any questions about the equipment I used in this video, take a look in the description below. Do me a favor and like the video if you like the video, and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to see more videos like it. I usually post about two a week. In the description, all that equipment are Amazon affiliate links. There's also a Patreon and a PayPal if you want to take advantage of those. Please don't feel obligated, but if you want to, I appreciate it. I'll definitely put it towards the channel or rent if I need to. Anyway, so no promises on that. That's really all I had to ask of you. If you have any questions, please post them in the comments below. I love to answer questions. And if I can't, I'm not going to have the answer to every question. If I don't have the answer, I'll direct you somewhere that does, or try to. Anyway, and that's really all I have to ask of you. Appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next one. We'll see you next time.